The situation in Gaza is a hot topic between all over the world, and the international communities are talking about it, so do we. A political analyst, Ahmad Shahidov, is now with us to discuss the Israeli war in Gaza. Thank you so much, Mr. Shahidov, for joining us from Baku, Azerbaijan. Thank you. Let's start with our questions. Turkey has taken a major role in minimizing the damages from this conflict. The Turkish foreign minister was in Lebanon today, where he said Turkey has proposed a guarantor formula for the Israeli-Palestinian issue. How important can this development be in ending the Israeli atrocities in Gaza?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me in your program. Greetings from Baku. It's almost 10 days that this drama and tragedy continues in Gaza, and Israeli army bombing Gaza. In addition to military settlements, the civil people also dying and destroying. Israeli army destroys the civilian settlements in Gaza as well. And almost 10 days that we observe that all humanitarian laws, all international laws are being violated by Israel. And if to take into account that there are hundreds of resolutions by UN Security Council about Israel occupation of Palestinian lands, but unfortunately, because of the United States of America stands with Israel and supports this occupation policy, none of these resolutions are implemented yet. And almost 10 days, all international organizations are silent and playing three-monkey games on this occupation and bombing and killing the civilian people in Gaza. This is only Republic of Turkey that does its best and shows very highest efforts for stopping this atrocity and brutality in Gaza. And I highly appreciate the latest visits of Minister of Foreign Affairs of Turkey, Mr. Hakan Fidan, to Arabic countries, and its contacts with some leaders and Minister of Foreign Affairs of some countries about mediation effort of Turkey, about the suggestion how to stop this brutality and to freeze this conflict and to start the dialogue between Israel and Palestine. Of course, this conflict will have a great impact on the situation in Middle East, and this conflict it causes not only Israel and Palestine, it concerns the other regional countries as well, such as Egypt, Lebanon, and other regional countries. And this conflict, this war, concerns all global countries as well. Today, Russia, China, Iran, United States of America, they also express their position and manifested their position in this conflict. Of course, unfortunately, some European countries, Western countries, stand with Israel and keeps their eyes on the killing of civilians in Palestine. And 2 weeks ago, we were attending the OSCE Warsaw implementation meeting, and 57 countries in this meeting also stand with Israel. It was very strange that no countries in Europe wants to see the brutality by Israel army bombing the Gaza and killing the civilians. Only Republic of Turkey has some opportunities, and if to take into account the experience of Turkey to solve the conflicts in Ukraine and Russia, in other conflict zones in the world, I think Ankara has huge opportunities and chances and also power to have a dialogue between Israel and Palestine. But another saying that Israel ignores the international norms, ignores the international principles. That's why it continues to bomb the Gaza, and in addition to military facilities, Israeli army bombs the civilian settlements in Gaza as well, and we witnessed the human tragedy in Gaza. All hospitals in Palestine are full with killed and wounded people, and unfortunately, international community, especially Muslim countries, Arabic countries, they just keeping silence about what's going on in Gaza. I don't know how to estimate this situation, but I can say that the Republic of Turkey is only a Muslim country that raised this issue on global politics and talks to other Muslim and Arabic countries and express its efforts to stop this brutality in Middle East.
You were talking about the mediation process that Turkey is so intensely being a part of. I wonder what you think about the situation unfolding, because the mediating is a huge process. Turkey tried to do it in Ukraine with Russia. Although the war didn't end, so much has happened, like the grain corridor and the swaps of the estranged people. So it was quite important, Turkey's role there. I wonder what you think about the situation right now. Would Turkey be able to mediate in such conflict?
The situation in Middle East quite difficult, and but anyway, Turkey has chance and experience, as you mentioned, Turkey's mediation role in Ukraine-Russian war, about the grain deal, about the exchange of prisoners of war and other issues that Ankara achieved in its foreign policy. I remember the meeting of Russian and Ukrainian representatives in Istanbul, in Turkey, and Erdogan's role to force them to talk and to continue this conflict and resolve this conflict by dialogue. So I think that Turkey has opportunities, experience, and a great chance to continue this humanitarian and mediation policy in Middle East as well. But anyway, this is somehow difficult because Israel, as I said before, ignores the international law and international principles, and it will be somehow difficult for Turkey to talk to Israel in this issue, because Israel insists to destroy all Gaza and to take control over the Gaza and other regions of Palestine and to enlarge its occupation policy. But anyway, if the Israeli refugees come to Turkey today, it means that even Israeli sees Turkey as the country of hope in this conflict, and Turkey as a Muslim country, also the second powerful member state in NATO, which has very great opportunities. Turkey can achieve the dialogue between Israel and Palestine and Hamas, and to organize the first meeting between two sides in Turkey, because the Turkey is a neutral country and peaceful country where two sides of this conflict can meet and start dialogue and anyway to stop this brutality. And first of all, I think that the first step will be if Turkey can achieve to exchange and release some prisoners from Hamas, Israeli prisoners, and it will be a positive step to start dialogue between two sides. But anyway, I think it's very difficult, but from the another saying that Turkey sees this conflict as a part of its foreign policy, and that's why today Minister of Foreign Affairs of Turkey, Mr. Hakan Fidan, very strongly continues its efforts on achieving peace and stopping this brutality, this drama in Gaza, and deliver some humanitarian aid to people in Palestine who are under bombing right now and who needs humanitarian aid, medicine right now in Gaza and in other cities in Palestine, because it is a very huge humanitarian issue that should be solved as soon as possible. And Turkey shows its efforts and continues its efforts to talk both to Israel, both to Hamas, Palestine, and to other regional countries, Arabic countries as well.
Turkey's intention is to resolve this thing with diplomacy rather than bloodshed, but as you mentioned, the humanitarian problem is a huge deal at the moment. We've seen so many Western countries and Western communities supporting Israel when all of this started, but afterwards we've seen and we heard UN saying that Israel has to stop and let the humanitarian corridor to happen. Speaking of this, let's talk about Israel a little bit, because inside Israel, Netanyahu had a problem. When this all didn't start, the government was in the shambles. Actually, we know that he was going through ups and downs, like a seesaw kind of. And we know at the moment that. What do you think about how this would affect his career in general, his political career? Because so much of my guests are saying that this is it for him. He is going to finish. What do you think? This is the end of his political career, or can he survive this?
I know it depends on the result of this war in a couple of weeks. Maybe if these clashes, if this operation will continue further, maybe it's months, maybe years. But in general, any government in Israel aims to enlarge its territory, occupy new territories, new Palestinian territories, and it started not yesterday. It has a concrete history, and the last years Israel continued this occupation policy, and during this occupation there were several even more meetings of UN Security Council, and hundreds of resolutions were adopted about this Israel occupation of Palestinians' lands. But unfortunately, because of United States of America is the permanent member of UN Security Council, Washington stands with Israel and vetoed all these resolutions of UN Security Council. At the end, none of these resolutions were implemented because Washington vetoed to this resolution. So it means that Israel is not the main country, only country in this occupation policy. Even United States of America, UK, and other European countries support Israel in this policy, and they never talk about the territorial integrity of Palestine. They never talk about the killing of innocent people in Gaza, destroying of the mosques in Palestine. No one in Europe, in Western countries, talk about it. They talk about only the Hamas attack to Israeli, and it's strange. If we are talking about the human rights, if we are talking about the civilians, let's talk about the civilians in Palestine as well. They are also human beings. So if the Netanyahu, the Israel government, will achieve the completely destroying Hamas and clean this Gaza and take control over this city and the region, of course the Israeli people will see it as a success of Netanyahu government. If the Israeli army will not achieve the main goals that to take over the control, it is the end of the political career of Netanyahu. That's why Netanyahu today ignores all international law and is keeping its insisting and insists to continue these military operations until the end of Hamas, even Hezbollah, and even all active people in Palestine. Of course, Israeli government wish to occupy all Gaza and all Palestine, but it is impossible. That's why they are continuing these operations, at least to take over the Gaza, to say that we have destroyed Hamas. There is no any terrorist organizations in the region, and Israel's territory, Israel's state borders are safe. And this is the reason to get new lands, to occupy new lands of Palestine. And Hamas attack to Israel, it is just one of the few reasons to enlarge the territory of Israel and to occupy Palestinian land. So I think Netanyahu's foreign policy and Netanyahu's today policy is to enlarge Israeli territory more and more and completely occupy the lands that Israel wants to get from Palestine. And anyway, the political career of Netanyahu depends on the military operations that continues today. And if Israel army will launch military operations on the ground and enter to Gaza and will face, will meet and will fight face to face with Hamas fighters, I think that Israel army will have some challenges and difficulties because Hamas and Hezbollah fighters they have more experience and more power, even stronger and powerful than the Israel army. And that's why the Israel army will have some challenges in Gaza if they launch the ground military operations. And Netanyahu knows about it, and that's why still yet Israeli army bombing the Gaza and won't completely destroy this area then to start the military operations on the ground. But anyway, the political area of the Netanyahu depends on the end these military operations in Gaza.
In the beginning of your response, you talked about the humanitarian aid and how it did not reach to the people of Gaza. And in general, they're lacking so much. They're lacking food, water, electricity. We've been talking about that. I mean, Netanyahu and his political career aside, we will see that unfolding in the future. But I'm wondering about the international community's stance, because you said that in UN Security Council, we have United States as one of the major members that they said they're going to stand behind Israel no matter what from the day one. So right now we have a humanitarian crisis unfolding in front of our eyes in the Middle East. These people are lacking so much, and humanitarian corridor is not being formed, and they're dying inside a so-called open-air prison-like situation. So what do you think could happen in the names of international community if Israel continues to disblock it and continues to do what they are doing right now? Will America's support going to be enough for them to keep up with it and come out of it as clean as possible, or is international communities are going to interfere eventually? What do you think?
You know, I think we are observing the next manifestation of double standards during this conflict, because I remember during the 40-40 Karabakh war in 2020 between Azerbaijan and Armenia, even 1 month ago during the 24 hours anti-terrorist organization operations, all international organizations, UN, OSCE, Council of Europe, they talk about the humanitarian issues, they talk about the rights of civilians in Karabakh, Armenian residents, and push Azerbaijani government to make corridors, and even Azerbaijan opened the Lachin corridor. All Armenian civilians passed from this corridor from Karabakh to Armenia. When we talk about Ukrainian-Russian war, of course, Russia occupies Ukraine and taking these territories. All European organizations, all Western countries support Ukraine. But when we talk about the Israel-Palestine war, about the Israeli brutality, somehow these European organizations keep silent and close their eyes to this brutality. As I said before, 10 days ago, I was in Warsaw, Poland. It was the OSCE Human Dimension Implementation meeting. There are 57 member countries of OSCE, and during all discussions, all meetings, besides Turkey and Azerbaijan, all OSCE member states stand up and supported Israel in these clashes. They never talked about the Palestinian people. They never talked about the innocent people killed in Palestine. They never talked about the humanitarian issues. But the another leaders of European Commission, European Union, European Parliament, OSCE, they talk about the supporting of Israel, and they condemn the civilians killed Israel, but they never talk about the innocent people killed in Palestine. And not only today, it continues years. Israel last 20, 30 years, every week, and killed anyone in Palestine, civilians. And today, openly, very so-called frankly, Netanyahu and other Israeli leaders talk about the completely destroying Palestine and killing anyone in Palestine. They talk about it very openly, but no any international organization, no any European organization, human rights organization such as Freedom House, Amnesty International, other well-known human rights organizations, they never talk about and condemn this brutality. Why? Because it is Israel occupies the Palestine, and because the people killed in Middle East, they are Muslims. And this is the manifestation of double standards in European organization. This is how they look to the world. They think that they are right, and all Muslim Turkish countries, they are wrong. That is why the European Western countries, they can kill Muslims, destroy their homes, destroy their lives, and these Muslim people, they are not human beings, and they have not human rights. That's why they cannot condemn, and they don't condemn the Israel because of Israel has some lobby in European countries, in European organizations, because United States of America stands with Israel. This is the openly, as I said before, the double standards and biased attitude towards the conflicts in the world. They criticize and condemn the Russian occupation in Ukraine. They condemn the other conflict, but they never condemn Israel occupation. And no one can find any statement of international organization, any statement of any European organization about the condemning Israeli army's brutality in Middle East. How to understand it? It is impossible. That's why I think that at least the Muslim Turkish countries in the world, the Muslim organizations should stand with Palestine and raise this issue in international organizations and call the UN Security Council meeting, and once again to force these organizations to talk about the rights of innocent people in Palestine and condemn the Israeli brutality in Middle East. Anyway, or otherwise, the Israel will continue to destroy all these civilian residents and settlements in Gaza, and will enlarge to destroy this occupied territory. And after a couple years, we will not find any Palestinian lands in the world. So if we look to the history, for near history, the Palestine as a country were more bigger and larger than today. And as a result of these double standards, as a result of this biased attitude of the European organization, European countries, Israel continues its occupation policy, and the attacks of Hamas to Israel is another reason, and a very good reason for Israel to continue this occupation. And we see it today, how Israel army bombs Gaza, kills civilian people, innocent people, kills houses, settlements, mosques in Gaza, and this is the continuation of this occupation policy, I think.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shahidov. It's been a very insightful conversation. We'll see how all of these unfold in the future. We hope that it unfolds with a diplomatic resolution. Thank you so much for joining us from all the way from Baku. Now we continue with our news.